Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. And today we have The Sweet Life on Deck. This is the sequel series, a spin-off from the Sweet Life with Zach and Cody, where twin brothers Zach and Cody grow up in a hotel. I guess it's a hotel suite. I don't know. I haven't seen the original series. I think I've seen an episode or so. Well, not a whole episode, but my nieces would watch it. There's cute boys in it, I guess, and I think one's smart and one's dumb, or they're both dumb. I'm not sure. Um, this is a 2008 to 2010 has three seasons. Yeah, that's a lot for a spin-off, I guess, on the Disney Channel. I think all Disney Channel shows by default kind of get three seasons. I didn't check to see. I should check. Let's check. 21 episodes, 30 episodes, and 22 episodes. Wow. Wow. So 43, 73 episodes. That's 73 episodes of a sequel series that, for some reason, takes the two main characters and one of the other characters, played by Brenda Song, she's a Disney vet. I should make that a term. She's plays London. She's a rich girl, and her daddy owns a boat. I imagine her daddy owned the hotel, probably. I'm guessing. Haven't seen it yet. It hasn't come up in the randomizer. So that's a big guess. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, she is your usual vapid, uh, over exaggerated for humor, uh, self involved rich girl who solves everything with money and gets everything she wants. Her daddy owns a boat, of course, and she reminds everybody of that every 5 seconds, till hopefully in hopes of getting out of what anything she has to do. Uh, the conceit here is that they're all going to high school on a cruise ship. Yeah, I don't know. Is that a thing? Is that a thing that happens to anybody? Like, not even just rich kids. I assume that these kids were rich. Like, the twin brothers were rich, Zach and Cody. But it appears that they're not, along with. Because her mom seems fairly normal. She's not. Whenever they. You have to understand, whenever Disney puts a character on screen, they usually leave no room for subtlety. There's usually not layers on display right up front. If somebody's rich, they've got a hat and a little dog and an expensive purse and everything's gold and they sound very rich. And if they're average, they wear a average Kmart dress and they have feelings and they they care for their children, not money. So yeah, it's their mom shows up in this point to see them off. She, you know, says goodbye. How do you get your children on a seven seas school or something like that? I don't know what it is, but it's a school on the seas. I think that would have been kind of cool though if you had that opportunity. I mean, this is wish fulfillment kind of fantasy for little kids who are watching these shows. I can't tell honestly if it's a laugh track, by the way, or um, some a, a really generous, a really generous live studio audience. I don't know. But weird. Well, by the way, speaking of which, this is really weird. This is a 2008 show, and it is 4:3 aspect ratio. So it's a square screen. It's not widescreen. That seems a little weird to me. I don't know. Yesterday's episode we had. I've already forgot. Oh, the Princess Protection Program. Was that yesterday? Gosh. Yeah. They were still using flip phones, and I realized yes, the iPhone only came out in 2007, but still, it's just everybody's using flip phones. There's flip phones here, from what I could see. Um, even though Brenda Song's London is super ultra rich, she would have had the iPhone before anybody else. But I guess you can't really put that on there. So this is one of the also there's a Disney cliche that I often mention here. Um, it's not the dead parent, although it's possible that since there's only a mom for the twins, there isn't a living dad. I again don't know, but the idea, the conceit is that the adults are there just to be foils for anything the kids do. They take the abuse, like what's his name, Mr. Mosby, played by Phil Lewis. He's a funny guy, but he's very uptight, and I guess he's English, but he gets splashed with water. He jumps off the boat when he sees the twins because apparently he must have worked with them at the hotel. I don't know, but he's the adult who's sort of in charge of wrangling them, and he gets in trouble all the time. Takes the hit for everything the kids get into, and yeah, the kids take their share hits too for screwing up, but it's always big comedy. So no, there's really usually no consequences. There's lessons to be learned here and there. Like when London decides, when she finally decides in the first episode that I don't want to be on the ship. Well, from the beginning, she didn't want to be on the ship. Her dad made her go there so that she couldn't just fly off to Paris at lunchtime and not go back to class in whatever school she was in previously. New York? I don't know. So yeah, she's a little snotty brat, but so apparently she supposedly can't escape the ship easily. She has a helicopter and what we learn later, probably a submarine at her beck and call, and she goes off to Parrot Island, and they discover that in the second episode, the Parrot Island, when they go to reroute the ship to pick her up so they don't have a lost student, that the island is completely devoid of parrots and trees because London's dad did something environmentally horrible to tear out the trees. And so there's a lesson, hey, don't do bad environment stuff, but throwing a $10 million check at it solves everything, as you would do as a 16-year-old girl who just wants to get out of jail. Who's put there by a vengeful cop who was really mad that they got rid of all the trees and parrots. By the way, played by Stuart Pankin, who is again another Disney vet. Once you see him, you'll know who exactly I'm talking about. So yeah, it's the sweet life of Zach and Cody. It's a sweet life on deck. It is not made for me. It is not something I'm ever going to watch again. It's got the humor that you would expect for a show that involves young teens. I can't tell how old these kids are. Maybe they're in ninth grade. I don't know, 8th grade. Either way, they're in a school on a ship, which is a crazy premise, and probably the reason I think I saw that Ashley Tisdale used to be on the original series, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I don't know, it or just looked like a girl who looked like her. She's not in this one, but there are a ton of guest appearances. I checked ahead, and there's some just it only would matter to somebody like me. Michael Hitchcock shows up. Gavin MacLeod from The Love Boat shows up at one point for 2 episodes. Yeah, it's nothing the kids will ever understand. So yeah, they won't appreciate it unless you raise some really smart kids. Anyway, yeah, Sweet Life on Deck. It's not something I would recommend unless you grew up with it and you want to revisit it, or honestly, if it's your kind of humor. But it's silly, non-consequential humor, edging on. It's a lot of fart humor. I mean, like when they all arrive on the ship, the first episode, they all get roommates. The brothers actually don't get their own roommates. They room with other people. One kid gets a roommate that only has 2 pairs of underwear, and one he's wearing and one that he holds up that's very tiny. And the other one has a roommate that he's really not expecting, but they have a lot of very particular bathroom rules and times and everything else. And he soon discovers that it's a girl who has snuck onto the ship in order to go to this school that she's always dreamed of. And even though they filled up all the slots, she snuck on as a boy. And she's from Kansas, and so she's like she becomes eventually at least up until the second episode that I can tell, the competitive love interest, because she's a lovely girl when she's dressed as a girl, and the boys kind of all want her attention. And yeah, one is her roommate for a while. At least for maybe not even a night, maybe barely a night. Yeah, it's weirdness. But kids will eat it up. I don't want to put too many adult trappings on it to make it sound weird or creepy because honestly it's probably again it's written by adults but it's not highbrow humor and I wouldn't expect it to be. So not for me. If it's your thing, have a great time. But let's pick tomorrow's episode.
110.
110. Okay. Dropping down. Come on. Come on. There we go. Oh, wow. This is sort of classic. It's not the right season. I would have rather had this in March, but this is probably a 60s era film, maybe early 70s. I'm thinking 60s because it might have been around or before this man played James Bond. This is a Sean Connery. I don't know how much he's in this, but Sean Connery is in this, and if you know what I'm talking about, well, you know what I'm about to show you. It's Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Yes, you're gonna hate that accent by the time I stop talking about it tomorrow. Darby O'Gill and the Little People. A Leprechaun story, I think. I've never seen it. Darby O'Gill and the Little People, starring Sean Connery on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. See you then.